the rain.
Hey guys, welcome to Quarantined Feelings with the Geekiary. I'm Erin. I'm here along with Admin Angel and Jamie. We're fans. We have feelings. This is where we webcast about them. Some of us are still in quarantine, so
we're really sad. It's the sad episode.
It's the sad episode.
So you can join the conversation in one of two ways. You can either comment below with your sad feelings about life, or use the hashtag Geekiary Feelings on Twitter, because how else will we know how sad you are? I'm sorry. Yeah, please.
We would like to remind all of you that the views expressed on this webcast are those of the hosts as individuals and do not necessarily.
This is a hard one to say.
Do not necessarily represent the Geekiary or the webcast itself as a whole.
It's gonna be a struggle.
This one's gonna be hard tonight. Like,
I'm not even drinking. Like, this is.
I'm not either. Me too.
Yeah. I think all of us are just like, whatever. Plus, as soon as we started, my cat like bolted and started scratching on her scratching post right next to me, and the thunder started. So I'm like, Anyway, this is the grumpy episode where we're gonna talk all about stupid COVID. So
I'm not even in my own house. Like during quarantine, I'm in someone else's house right now. As you can tell, this is in fact not Poe Dameron, but a turtle. This is the house number 2 while we wait for it to get put back together. So
yeah, you've got a lot going on. So it's okay. So let's keep going for now. We got to get the business out of the way. Don't forget about our Patreon. We still have that going. Patreon.com/thegeekiary. It got really dark here. Oh my gosh. Okay. Please give us money because also yeah. Be sure to check out the rest of our YouTube channel. We have some great quarantine content, and Fareed has some great stuff out there too. Plus, we've got San Diego Comic-Con coming up. Sdcc at home, I guess, is what it's being called. So we'll have maybe stuff on there. I don't really know.
We'll talk about it a little bit later. I put some bullet points for Comic-Con.
Yeah. So yeah, stay tuned. And then don't forget about our news section at the Geekiary. Do we have any news? And I'm gonna skip the first one, and that's gonna go under discussion. So you guys go for your news.
Okay, so Train to Busan Presents Peninsula, which is the sequel to Train to Busan, is coming out August 7th. Which is way too soon for a movie to hit theaters. And then it's going to be available to stream on AMC's new AMC the network, not AMC the theater, new streaming service. I think it's called Shudder. Yeah. Sometime at the beginning of 2021, which is really fast for something to go from theaters to streaming. So that's good that it's a fast turnaround, but still August 7th, and that's in North America, not where it's from, South Korea, where they've got a good handle on this crap. No one's going to go see it, and it's going to have really low numbers, and it's going to be through no fault of its own. I feel so bad for this film.
Yeah. Well, we can talk more about the theater thing in the main discussion, because I was can't really add to that. But so my news wasn't really, I didn't write a news article for it, but I mentioned it in my review. My favorite manga is Haikyuu, which is about a high school volleyball team. And it was revealed in the last issue of Shonen Jump Weekly from last week. There's only 2 more chapters of the manga. And then it's completely done. And I am very, very upset about this. It was one of these things where you knew it was coming because in October, they had a big time jump in the manga, and all of a sudden they're not in high school anymore. And they're professional volleyball players. And so you knew the ending was coming, but knowing that it's happening eventually, coming up soon, and having a definitive, it's over in 2 chapters is very, very, I'm very sad about it. But.
This is a very sad episode for all of us.
I'm looking at my radar really quick because there's like some bad weather out there. So anyway, but nothing is showing up on radar. So
Cool.
that sounds like 2020 in a nutshell.
Yeah. Surprise apocalypse.
So I guess that's all the news we have.
Yeah, I mean, it's been slow news like always. Like not a whole lot going on.
Let's go right into discussion then.
You want to start with the one that was originally news?
Yeah. So, well, first of all, the discussion topic in general is COVID is dumb. So, I mean, COVID has destroyed summer. Let's just be real there. Not like I really do anything different in the summer than any other time of the year. I pretty much just sit in my apartment and watch TV all the time. But still, it's destroyed summer. So the first thing I want to talk about is one thing that has not been destroyed, which is Disney World opened today.
Yeah, I'm in the middle of writing an article about this, so it's not quite done yet, but it will be done probably fairly quickly after this episode is done, and I can go in and like finish it up. But oh man, it's bad, guys. Like there's pictures, there's video from like outside the gates before it opened, and everyone's like standing like right next to each other. And like the good thing is a lot of people are wearing masks. Most of them are, which is great. Like
isn't it required in the park?
Yeah, this was a video from outside the park gates, and so I don't think it's required, or maybe it is. I don't know, but
why wouldn't you just have your mask on?
I can provide some color around that situation.
But yeah, like, and then there's pictures inside the park of like people crowding around, like, I don't know, I guess it was like a food stand or something, and they're like all shoulder to shoulder, like wanting food, and I'm just like, oh my god, this is like a nightmare. Like,
it's like torrential downpour now. I looked out the window. What is happening? Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of a Disney World obsessed person. And like, I've been following it all day. I like can't even see across the courtyard. So sorry if you can hear the rain because it's very loud. Anyway, so I've been following Twitter pretty much all day, and actually over the past couple of days as well, because they've been doing cast member and pass holder previews this week. So only Magic Kingdom and Animal Kingdom opened today, and then Epcot and Hollywood Studios are opening on the 15th, which is Wednesday, I believe. Yep. I don't know the dates. And so oh, it's hailing now. Cool. Oh my god. So you guys are saying typical Iowa thunderstorm in real time. And my cat's sitting there like, what is happening? Anyway, so apparently what happened with that big crowd outside of the gates was there was a glitch with the app today, which is how you basically do everything now, because it's connected to your Magic Band, which is your tickets, your all of your reservations, your food, and sometimes your money. Like that's a big deal. And right now you have to make a park reservation to get into the park so they can help limit that capacity or at least monitor it. And for some reason, like, it stopped working for everyone. And so that line was people who had reservations, but it wasn't working, like when they went to get into the park. So that was the line for guest relations. And because it was outside of the park, I don't think it was monitored well. And that was probably the case there. Pretty much everything else I've seen, I don't know about the food cart or kiosk or whatever that you saw, but it does look like, for the most part, inside the parks at least, things are fine. People are wearing their masks.
I'll include pictures because there's some pictures out there that are pretty terrifying.
Okay, fair enough. And also, Splash Mountain went down and got evacuated. That's all I know. So, yeah. Anybody else have any things to say about that, I guess?
I just think I have issues with Florida, and sorry, I can't really say a whole lot because I technically work for Disney, but I don't, and I can't really. I can't really say a whole lot about it, but like we're still not open, so like it seems really weird that like it's cool to open the park, but like other parts of the company aren't open. So
Disney Parks corporate office is closed and they're all working from home, but all of the people that work like a little bit above minimum wage, they all have to go to work now and face thousands of people. So it's really screwed up.
And Florida's numbers are
horrible.
Climbing. Yeah.
Way worse than California per capita, like if you go like per 1,000 or per million. And California delayed the opening of Disneyland, but not Florida. And I think this is just speculation on my part, but I think it's probably because the Disneyland park has really strong unions. And I don't know how Florida's situation with unions is, but I don't think it's as strong as California. That's my speculation.
I'm not denying that because I can't speak to that, but I also suspect it might partially be the government, the state government, because the Florida governor is not the best person in the world. And there was probably a lot of heavy pushback from him. And they might not have been like able to keep it closed and still get like stuff for their employees, because I don't know how long it was going on, but they were paying, like Disney was paying their furloughed employees. I don't know if that was.
I think it only lasted for like maybe a month, maybe a little longer. Like it wasn't very long. But I remember that when it came off, a lot of my friends in Southern California, but this is again Southern California. I don't know if they changed it per park, but yeah.
Yeah, so what else is going on?
Besides Walt Disney World?
Yeah, whatever.
Well, San Diego Comic-Con would be happening soon. And my Facebook pushing memories like 5 years ago today, blah, 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 blah. And it's like
8 years ago today, I picked up my badge for my first ever Comic-Con.
5 years ago today, I had my picture taken with Hugh Dancy at the NBC press party.
Yeah, my memories also have been coming through. Like, no, that was something. Anyway, yeah, because when was it? Like, oh yeah, 2015 was a little bit earlier, and so that's like all the memories that are coming through now are like from 2015.
Yeah, basically the next couple of weeks is just going to be Sdcc memories, like on my Facebook.
Yeah, basically same. It's really depressing, y'all.
Yeah, well, and also, I mean, they wanted to keep some sense of the normalcy of the convention, and so they, like, traditionally, they release the schedule 2 weeks in advance, and they've still done that even for the online stuff. So it's like they're trying to be like, yeah, there are some good, like, obviously the entire schedule hasn't posted yet, and I haven't been able to go through Saturdays yet. But there's some good stuff on there. Like, I'm really excited about some of the panels. I'll be writing up, once the entire schedule is released, I'm going to put out an article that highlights the panels that I'm particularly excited about or that I think other people should check out. And I know Angel has already posted one about the LGBTQ panels, some of them at least for a couple of days that are up there. So it's like, obviously we still don't know what to expect because I mean, CCI did this for WonderCon, but it was sort of like last minute and it didn't really seem like it did all that well. They seem much more prepared with Sdcc because there's like actual panels, like planned, and like everything's already like scheduled on their YouTube page and everything like that. So
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. And we plan on having a follow-up article, like discussing that very thing. Like, how did this go? Like, you know, did it play out well? Did we enjoy it? Blah, 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 blah. So
Yeah,
we'll tackle that.
Yeah, and we actually decided, because we always have a pre-Sdcc webcast, and we're still sort of doing that, even though we're not going to Sdcc. That's next week, so we'll be talking more in depth about it. But
yeah, for
kind of
sure.
hard to talk about how the summer got ruined and not talk about.
We will definitely be less sober. I mean, more sober. Next for this oh my god, I don't even know what I'm saying. Pre-Comic-Con webcast than normal. So at least this person will be. Somebody commented that this is a depressing chat. Yes, sorry. Normally things are a lot more exciting right now. But yeah. What else is going on, guys?
I mean, I feel like a lot of it's personal stuff. Because I have on there, like, my friends and I, every year, there's a winery in Jersey that we go to.
My thing is going in and out. Okay.
Yeah, mine will probably do that too. My internet sucks. Then it's like my friends and I, we do a winery trip every year. Like we take the train in. One of our friends that don't live in the city will pick us up, and we'll all drive to the winery. We get there early. You can't bring like outside like meals, but you can bring like snacks. So everybody, like, we do like a potluck, like cheese and like chips and stuff like that. And we basically stay there all day. They have relatively inexpensive wine. They have like $5 tastings. It's a very nice area. They have a big open like field, and then you can actually like take a tour of the vineyard. It's really nice. It's a really fun day. We all look forward to it every year, and obviously this year that's like not happening. So we're all very upset about that.
Yeah, she was frozen for like a full minute, and then now she's gone. She'll be back, I'm sure. That actually sounds really fun, and I feel really bad that you don't get to do it.
It's a lot of fun. I'm probably going to be getting memories for that too on Facebook in the next couple of weeks, because we usually do it in July. It's really sad. Like I don't normally do a lot of stuff because I'm poor. But the summer in New York in particular is like, there's a lot of free stuff that happens. But it's all like probably stuff that, I mean, I don't know. New York probably can't get rid of it. But there'll be stuff like, there's a lot of outdoor movie screenings. Like Bryant Park, which is right behind the main branch of the public library, does it every year. They turn the lawn into like there's a big screen that they shift over, and basically everywhere in the city there's like free movie screenings, or like there's free this and free that, and it's just like I've barely left my apartment in like the last week. I have to go into the office next week, so we'll see what the city's like now. Every time it's my turn to go into the office, I'm always hesitant about it because I have to take public transit, and it's just like every time I only have to go in every 3 weeks, and it's like every time I have to go in, there's more and more people on the train, and it's just like not a pleasant situation, and can't really do anything to avoid it. So.
Right. And I mean, there's a lot of Des Moines actually is pretty good about having a lot of events during the summer as well. There's like the Des Moines Arts Festival, and there's the Italian American Food Festival, which is always really amazing. And they're just not happening, and it's very sad. And I also have not left my apartment really at all. And I miss, for me, like the only real like perennial summer event that I do is Comic-Con. But I definitely I like to go out to eat a lot. That is just something that I do. And yeah, no, not happening.
So I don't know at what point I got cut off because it was in and out there. Did my Disneyland thing make it in, or was I out before that?
No.
Oh, I skipped to my stuff, so.
Okay, so
I think she
okay.
might have been talking about Disneyland. That was the point, and then, but yeah, we didn't hear anything.
Oh,
Yeah, because
oh,
I was
yeah.
talking about I was talking about Disneyland, and then Jamie, you started talking at the same time as I did, and I'm
Oh.
like, wait a minute, I'm
You had
talking, and then I
frozen for
realized,
me.
oh,
I'm
you guys
sorry,
can't
yeah.
hear me.
No.
Okay, so
You were
basically,
sorry.
I didn't hear anything about Disneyland.
I'm very sorry.
No.
You were frozen, and I didn't even realize
Okay.
you were talking.
Yeah. Okay. So I would be at Disneyland in 10 days. That was my original plan. Avengers Campus would be open because it was supposed to open in the summer, but they didn't have a specific date. But usually summer means like end of May, beginning of June. And I was going to be doing Disneyland right before going to Comic-Con. Man, I'm not. Yay. So that's my depressing thing. What did I miss while I was gone? Because I was gone for a few minutes.
Oh, my friends and I go to a winery every year. We'd be doing that right around. We usually do that in July, and that's one of those things where it's like I don't do a whole lot because I'm poor and New York's expensive. But there's a lot of free stuff that goes on in the summer that I always am like, I'm gonna do that this summer, and then I never do. And like this summer, I was like, no, this summer I'm going to, and then this happens, and nothing's going on. So like,
Yeah, we were basically just talking about like summer stuff that we sometimes do, or like might be tempted to do, or like could do.
Yeah.
My pool here at my apartment complex is not open. I think I've talked about that before. That like some pools are open, but most are not. And
my company every year does a trip to Aulani, not during the summer, but during like the beginning of fall, so like the end of summer, September-ish. And they've canceled that. And Aulani is like the Disney resort. Yeah, and they will pay for one night there for us. And that's canceled, and I'm like so depressed because Aulani is a really nice place and I get to stay there for free. So yeah. So I guess that's go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, talking about the pool thing, is that my family and I do a family chat every week. My parents live in Florida and they have a pool, and my older sister lives in Arizona and she doesn't have a pool at her place, but her boyfriend's parents have a pool. And so on our chat today, like my dad was late to the chat because he was in the pool. He had to get out of the pool. And then when my sister clocked in, she was also late because they were at her boyfriend's house and they were at the pool. And I'm just
that's
like,
Florida? Your parents?
My parents live in Florida, and my sister lives in Phoenix, in Arizona.
Oh my God! So you got 2 of the 3 majorly hit states with your family.
Oh, and my younger sister lives in Texas.
Oh my God! So 3 for 3. Congratulations.
Yep. I mean, my family's smart about it, but because my older sister is a nurse, so but yeah, my younger sister hasn't left her house in like months.
Yeah, like God, that's crazy. But we're doing pretty well out here. Like we had 42 new cases, which for you guys would sound like a very small, reasonable number, but for out here that's insanely high, because like for like 3 weeks we had single digit new cases. So I actually went out, and I know I might get judged for this, but I went out to like an outdoor patio bar and like had some drinks and like was feeling pretty confident. Like, you know, we had social distance in the bar, like we had our mask on whenever you left your table. Like it felt good, like we could do this, but then all of a sudden over the July 4th weekend, it shot up to 20, 30, 40 cases a day after single digits for like 3 or 4 weeks. And so I feel like that's going to be the last time I see a bar like in a very long time. I want to cry. Oh.
Well, don't cry, because all of us are going through it. So no, I mean, so I guess instead of saying don't cry, I should say let's just all cry together. So no, it's fine. Yeah, I mean, yeah, all of us are just, it's like this for everybody. It's not, well, let me back up. It's like this for everybody who is actually like doing something about it. Yeah, I'm going to put that caveat out there because obviously there are a lot of people that are just going about their business as normal. And none of us are any of those people. So that good for us. But yeah, it's, you know, I don't know obviously what it's like where you guys live. I don't really go out, but I am getting a lot of pressure, especially from my family members to go out and stuff, or like meet up for dinner and everything. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm not doing it. Sorry. Like my birthday is next month and my mom keeps bugging me about, what are you going to do? You know, what are we going to do for your birthday? Cause normally like we go out to dinner. And I'm like, I don't want to do anything. Like, just send me some cupcakes, please. And that's it. And
send them links to the articles about like, there was that family that had that surprise birthday party and like everybody that
people,
went,
yeah,
caught it. And then there was I saw something, it must have been on Twitter, but it was like somebody, he was 30 years old and they had a COVID party because they thought it was a hoax and he got COVID and then he died. And it's like,
yeah. And like his last words were like, I think I made a mistake. This isn't a hoax. And then he died. So
it's like, just don't be stupid, people. Like,
I know. There was another one that I posted on Twitter last night of this guy, and I feel really bad because this guy's Facebook was open and now he's dead, and there's nothing that can be done about it. People are just like trashing him in the comments on his Facebook now. But like, it was a post from April that's like, I'm not going to wear a mask. I'm not giving in to the hype. And then a post from mid-June of him like at a bar with his friends. And then a post from July 1st where he's like, I've been diagnosed with COVID. And then an obituary from July 4th of him dead. And it's just like,
just drink in your apartment alone like the rest of us. Like, come on.
Have you guys seen the comparison to prohibition? Because like, it's like, oh, like they're closing closing the bars, and like if you're not complying with the restrictions, they pull your liquor license. And people are like, oh, it's like prohibition. It's like, no, you can still drink, just not in public. Like, just drink at home. It's cheaper.
You can buy a box of wine. Yeah. Or like that jug of rum that Angel has been drinking for a while,
which I don't have with me anymore because it's at my apartment. Oh god, the plumber saw a giant jug of rum next to my bed.
I'm
plumbers are like,
look, we're all going through it. It's okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to. I mean, we can. I don't care about going down the rabbit hole with judging people, but if you guys want to, by all means. I just know that, like, I mean, my brother works. He's a general manager for a restaurant franchise, and I know it's been really tough on him with his employees. Like, they don't want to come to work, obviously. And they don't make a lot of money, so they come to work when they're sick anyway. And, you know, my mom is a senior citizen, and she had a Norwex party today. And I'm just like,
my God.
At her house. And I'm like, what are you doing? And literally every single time I've talked to her on the phone since March, I've been like, look, you gotta stay away from people. Don't have anybody over. Don't go out to eat. You know, like, they don't listen.
They don't. It's so sad. Like, I don't know why people just don't understand the seriousness of this. Like, it's even I don't know, man. Like, come on. Why?
Well, I've even told my mom, like, repeatedly. I mean, I've told her, like, you are in a super high risk. Like, she's 67. She's elderly. She thinks that she's not, but I'm like, you are, you're old, sorry. And you know, she has asthma, she's overweight, like high blood pressure. Most people that are elderly have, you know, high blood pressure or other underlying issues too. And I'm like, you get this, you're gonna die. Like,
Yeah.
not, you know,
Yeah.
being a little dramatic there, but like, I don't understand why people don't understand. Like,
an in-law of mine, and I'm going to be vague because I don't want to directly call anyone out by name, but an in-law of mine was going to be going to a state political convention, which, you know, one party seems more keen on having those in person than the other party. So, but it was scheduled for like 2 weeks from now in one of those big 3 states. And news just came out over the weekend that it was canceled. And I'm just like, thank God. And she still really wanted to go. Like, I can see that she's upset by it, but I'm like sitting here like, yes, thank God. Like, she's not allowed to go. Like, we don't have to like try to reel her back in, and like the government has shut it down. Like, thank God. That just made it easier.
My parents, I mean, my family does pretty well in general. I mean, my older sister is a nurse, as I said, and so she really has no choice. She has to go to work. My younger sister has been working remotely since this started, and they're actually going to continue working remotely until November. Although that's more, they're taking advantage of the fact that people are working from home to renovate the building, which was due for renovations anyway, which is why they're working from home until November. My brother-in-law unfortunately got furloughed, so he is on unemployment. And my parents were actually surprisingly doing well, because my dad is one of those climate change deniers, and so I was sort of expecting them to be like, it's not that bad, that many people die from the flu every year, like blah blah blah. But maybe it's because my older sister is a nurse, but they actually, like, they were doing very well with staying at home. Like, only one of them would go out to get groceries, you know, every so often. Unfortunately, since they live in Florida, and Florida has decided to hell with science and like opened everything up, one of the first things they were excited about was going to church. My parents are very active in the church, and they always have been. And their church was doing remote sermons, like live casting the sermon, which, you know, and my mom was just like, she's like, I'm tired of that. And it's like, oh, okay, then be tired of breathing. Like, I don't understand. So it was like, they were very excited because their pastor opened up the church against the advice of like the local, like, I don't know anything about religious hierarchy in the state. The bishop, I guess, like the head of like the district, the head of the church for the district. And it was like, he was like, don't open. And they were like, okay, whatever, and opened. I mean, they have precautions in the sense that like every other pew is roped off, and they, you know, they have marks on the pews that are open that you have to sit so far away. And then my parents do this thing. I don't actually know what it is. It's called Celebrate Recovery. I'm not quite sure what it is, but it's like a meal that they serve. It could be for recovering addicts. I don't know what it actually is. Because the church has a kitchen. It's one of those kind of churches. And they do like breakfasts for like other stuff. And one of the cooks got COVID.
Oh, cool.
So they had to close the church kitchen. And I'm just like, that's great.
Like, one of the biggest clusters out here was a church. Like, how we went for a while, it was like 3 weeks of single digit, and then we had like a spike of like 12, and then like 18, and then we went back down to the single digits for a while again. And that little spike of like double digits for a while that we had was almost all from a church that decided, well, we can't meet at the church, so let's meet at somebody's house, because somehow, I don't know, the logic is COVID can't enter a house. No, they just like wanted to meet in secret. Like, y'all, like, I understand you want to go like worship your God, but you don't want to meet him this fast. Like, please, like, put it off. Like, enjoy living on this planet a little longer.
God gets it. Like, okay, God is totally cool. Like, he understands, he or she, whatever, understands. It's like, there's kind of something else going on right now. They don't take attendance in church. You don't have to be there every week. It's fine.
Yeah.
I'm the wrong person to talk about this stuff too. But let me say, I mean, by this point, especially with the numbers, the way that they are especially in certain parts of the country, like I'm sure by this point we all know at least somebody who has had it, and either died or recovered. But you know, the thing that really is surprising to me is the number of people who have recovered. I put that in the quotation marks because you don't recover from COVID ever, like at 100%. You just
your
don't.
lungs are screwed. Like,
well, and it's not just your lungs. Like one of the, I work with a person. I'm on a project with her, so we don't work like directly together, but we're on a thing together. She had it like back in April. And I mean, she's like my age, so she's like mid-30s, I don't know. And she was out of work for about 3 weeks because she would get better, like her fever would go away and then it would come back and she just like couldn't get ahead of it. And then like she finally made it back. She could only work like half days for like 2 weeks because she had no energy. And then like once she started working back full time, like she came back to work on the project with me, and her like mental capacity, like she couldn't complete sentences and stuff. Like, and that's the thing that I think people think that it is just like a cold, like it's respiratory, and that, you know, once you get over it, like, you know, it may just last longer than a cold, but then, you know, and then it might come back because a lot of people, you know, a lot of people do get colds and then they get sick again like 2 or 3 weeks later because it was actually probably bronchitis and they didn't treat it. But like with her, I'm just the mental or like the intellectual impact of that was so surprising to me. And it scared me. It scared the hell out of me. And like for somebody like me that I put a lot of stock into my brain power, you know, that's what has gotten me ahead at my job and everything. It doesn't really scare me about the physical stuff, like the coughing and the taking time off work, as much as probably other things, but knowing that it could impact my brain like that freaks me out.
And like the thing is, there's new symptoms being discovered like all the time, like how it affects your brain. Like there's, because at the beginning of this, it was fever, cough, and trouble breathing. And those were the 3 things. And then like now the list is like 4 or 5 times as long for the main symptoms, and then like 20 additional maybe symptoms that people could have. And like we just don't know like the long-term effects of this. Like last night, like 11 p.m. when I should have been going to bed, I was reading about this one thing called happy hypoxia. I don't know if you've heard of that, but hypoxia is basically like when you have a low level of oxygen in the blood, or I'm not a scientist.
Yeah. That's basically like, what it is. Yeah.
And when you get down below 70%, it's considered critical, and you're like, gotta be like in an emergency room, like you are dying. And there have been people down at 50% that have been feeling fine and like not been short of breath at all and have been going about like normal. And like one person said that like someone was in the hospital and they told them like you're down at 50%. And this is an anecdote. I have nothing to back it up other than a random Reddit comment. But it's like, you're at 50%, we gotta like ventilate you now. And they're like, let me finish my Instagram post. I was like, and they're calling it happy hypoxia. You don't realize, like, you feel fine. It's weird.
I kind of wonder if maybe that could be part of the reason that my coworker is having more like brain issues, is maybe she just went a while without proper oxygen saturation, you know, like
damage
that
your
has,
brain or something.
yeah, that has devastating effects on brain function. And I mean,
think that's
we're not
probably-
scientists. I just
no,
want
we're
to make
not.
that
No,
clear.
I'm not.
It also, if she had a,
Yeah.
if, like that combined with a high fever could probably
Yeah.
do it too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not that
I mean,
I really know
she-
anything about.
Yeah, we're all speculating. None of this is
Yeah,
official.
no.
None of us
Well,
are
I can
scientists.
text
We're
my
just
sister,
talking
the
about
nurse, and
things.
we can ask.
I don't think that people are talking enough about the potential like neurological issues, especially long term, that can come around from this, because like a lot of the old people that get it, they just die. But like, I mean that in the best way possible. Sorry,
They just
I'm a little
die.
bit blunt. But like the young people who potentially can beat it mostly physically, you know, there's so much long term that we don't know about. And just from my experience with this one coworker, it freaks me out. Like, I don't even know if we can beat this thing with a vaccine. Like, you know, if you've already had it, will you ever recover? I don't know.
I don't know. And like there's still a question on if you would even have immunity to it, because someone in our chat mentioned that people are getting it more than once. We don't know the science on that, because some people are like, it's maybe possible that you can build an immunity, and then other people are like, no, it's absolutely not possible. We just don't know though. Like so a vaccine could be completely useless, because that's what the vaccine counts on is, you know, antibodies.
Yeah. And I think it depends, like, because originally they thought it was like a respiratory disease, and it's not, which is why so many people were comparing it to the flu. And I think people that are hand waving the flu have never actually had the flu, because the flu is actually crappy. That's why people actually die from it. I think when people say like, oh, I had the flu, like, no, you had a head cold. You did not have the flu.
Or you've been puking all night and they're like, I had the flu.
Yeah.
No. No.
Yeah.
But it was like, yeah, so originally they thought it was like a respiratory disease, and now I think they've determined that it's not, but I don't remember what kind
blood.
of
It's a blood disease.
Yeah. So, I mean, is there a way to vaccinate against the blood disease?
Yeah, and there's also blood clots, which are a brand new thing. Like
blood clots is what happened to
Nick Cordero.
Yes, thank you. I couldn't remember
his name. His leg.
That's why they amputated his leg. Yeah.
And that's a brand new thing. I mean, not really technically, because these are all symptoms that have been there, but it's a brand new thing, and that we're just now realizing that it's a common symptom. And like, so you combine low oxygen in your blood with blood clots, your blood is just like messed up, like so bad. Oh my God. God, this is scary shit.
God, I don't want to go into the office next week.
Sorry, Jane.
One plus about it is that the thing is that my company is spread across several buildings, and my building is what we affectionately refer to as Exile, because it's all of the other ones are located in the same area and they're all connected. Like, you can get to all of them without leaving the building. Mine is like several blocks over, obviously not connected at all. And they, like last year or 2 years ago, I don't remember when this actually was, sold all of the buildings, because the intention is to build us a brand new shiny complex somewhere else in the city. And so the building that I'm in, as it's separate from all of the other ones, is supposed to be the first one to be vacated, and we're supposed to be out of it by the end of this year. So they have been in the process since sometime like late last year of moving everybody from our building over into the other buildings. That had just, and actually my department was supposed to be moved in February, but they couldn't get our equipment working in the new space in the other building, and we cannot work without functioning equipment. So we were like, and they still wanted us to move. They're like, no, like, you need to be moved there by like this day. It's like, does our equipment work? No. Well, then we're not moving. How can you expect us to do our job if our crap doesn't work? And so like we were supposed to be moved in February, and they kept pushing it back, and then COVID happened and everything shut down. And obviously they're not worried about constructing new areas or like hooking up equipment or anything like that. And my building contains a lot of the non-essential employees. In fact, the only people pretty much that go into the building, aside from like security guards and the janitors and the maintenance people, is my department. So when I do go into the building, there's no one else in the building other than like the 2 security guards I might see. And I actually had asked the security guard the last time I was in the office, which was 2 weeks ago, when the building was going to be opening back up, because there are signs everywhere that say that people were going to start coming back July 6th, which was this past Monday, because they're going to be shutting off all the water dispensers and the coffee machines for health reasons. And I asked him, I was like, oh, when is the building opening up? And he's like, it's not. Like, they're not bringing the departments that are in my building won't be brought back to full staff until the move is complete, essentially. And my boss sort of confirmed that, because I asked him, and he was like, oh, well, they have to start construction. So it's like, we won't be back to fully staffed until we're in our new space. And honestly, I don't think anybody from my company is watching this, but please don't come after me. But like, that's dumb, because right now, like, they're cramming an entire building into like other buildings. So basically we have to fill in where there's space. Mm-hmm. So right now we have a lot of space and we're losing almost all of it. Cause right now there's 5 people in my department plus my supervisor. We're spread out in 3 offices. Plus we have additional like offices that are used as like workrooms and like storage rooms. And in our new space, in our new building, we'll all be in one room. And like, we don't even have desks. Like, we won't have like, we're not even going to have like partitions. We're basically going to be at a counter along the wall, like a foot or 2 feet from each other. I'm like, that's just stupid. Like, I don't.
That is stupid.
My
that is
company
corporate culture in this current climate. Like,
my company has decided that most of us are working from home permanently. I know I've mentioned this in our chat room before, but probably I'd say 75% of my company is all work from home now permanently. And I had to go back in a couple weeks ago and empty out my desk and like bring everything home. And that was kind of depressing. But 2 days after that, after I took the bus to and from work, it was announced that a bus driver had tested positive. I'm like, really? This is the first time I've taken a bus in like 3 months. And like literally 2 days later, a bus driver tests positive. And they didn't tell us the routes for like an entire day. And so I'm just sitting there like, why? Like, why is this the time that a bus driver tests positive? It turns out it wasn't my route, but that was like going into the office, getting on a bus, then clear everything out, never have to go back into work again. Oh shit, now I probably like interacted with someone who has it. Like, it's awful.
Well, I wanna point out somebody in the chat made a really great point, and I've actually been thinking a lot about this too. The comment is most of the other countries didn't have enough cases for some of the symptoms to become common, which is absolutely true. And so the only reason I want to point this out is because like a lot of the, like if you're on Facebook looking through comments, which is never a smart idea.
Never do that. No.
But yeah, but if you do venture out there,
make that poor choice.
a lot of the people that are like, you know, it's no big deal, whatever, you know, they're like, or like, this is a hoax, you know, most of the arguments are like, you know, why are they just now saying that, you know, COVID causes this, or why are they just now saying that, you know, and that's like their argument that it's a hoax or whatever, or like they're trying to fearmonger. And I'm just like, it's because nobody else has had this many cases for this long. Like,
because other countries took it seriously right from the beginning.
I'm like, it's our fault that we're learning all of this extra stuff about COVID because we've had it for longer than anybody else. And the numbers are still like really rising. Like,
it's terrible that this is happening. and that we are dealing with this many cases, but for the good of humanity, we are basically the guinea pigs on how this works. So science can study America and be like, look, this is how horrible it can be. Like, don't do this. Don't be America. Like,
And I love, I mean, it's terrible, but in times like this, like dark humor is really a coping mechanism, and it always pretty much has been for me. But I love the memes that come out of this. Like, I apologize to all the screenwriters who I called idiots for thinking that like somebody would run like downstairs in the murder basement. It's like, no, we are that stupid. Like, and there was, I can't remember where I saw it. It was probably Tumblr, but I bet you it was a screen cap of a tweet. That it was basically just like, from now on, if zombie movies don't have people running towards the zombie hordes declaring that it's a hoax, then I won't find them believable.
oh my God.
I mean, Americans. Like,
Yeah.
you guys know that I watch a lot of Disney vlogs on YouTube. That's like all I do in my spare time. That's all I've done today, basically. And most of the ones I watch are British people because I just love them. And so I've been watching this one today, like all day. It's a channel called Becky and Lloyd. They're a young married couple from Brighton in the UK. And they come here like all the time, and they do Disney and Universal, and they always go to like Walmart and buy like snacks and stuff. And, you know, they're talking about like how giant the sodas are. They're like, this soda is bigger than my head. The soda is longer than my leg. You know, I don't know. They don't say that, but like, you know, they say all of this stuff, and I'm just like, this is how it is here. You know, I'm like, welcome to the United States, because this is just who we are. You know, Americans don't like to be told what to do. They, you know, the first sign of being semi-inconvenienced, it's you're taking my rights away. And, you know, it's, you know, there are people like that in other countries too, but I do think that having so many people that way with that thought process is uniquely American. And
individualism is a very, very American idea.
Yeah,
I mean, it exists in other countries, but I think it's such a cornerstone of the American like culture, such as it is, that it was like it's all about like you as an individual rather than the community, which is more common in other countries.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of the preventive measures just won't work, because like they look at it as wearing a mask. Oh, I don't want to wear a mask. It's my choice.
I'm not sick. I don't care.
Masks are there to protect other people from you, but they don't care about that. They don't care about other people. They only care about themselves and their individuality.
I mean, I don't mind wearing a mask. In fact, sometimes I like wearing a mask because I get acne, like especially along my jawline, because like I have hormonal acne, and I'm like, oh, I can just cover that when I go to the store. Or like, you know, although the masks then cause more acne, at least in my experience. So like you could see like I have some little pimples across my nose here. I was like, oh, right where the mask is. Cool. But whatever, I don't care. When I go out again, the mask is going to cover them. Yeah. And when I'm at home, no one's going to see them. So whatever. I like the mask.
I mean, yeah, because I mean, like, obviously, like, I am not a fan of wearing the masks. It's because it's like, I mean, it's my glasses mostly is that, it probably would be better if I had like the professional like medical masks, because they're a little more, they have a little more give to them. I'm wearing like homemade masks, and the fabric is a little stiffer, and so they don't conform to my face as well. And so it's like my glasses sort of like sit on top of them, and it's much easier for them to like slide. And also they fog if I don't have it sitting correctly. And it's just a hassle, but I mean, I don't go out that much, so it's really not that big of a deal. It kind of sucks wearing it for like the hour on the train that I have. But since there's nobody in my building, I don't really have to be wearing it constantly at work, which is nice. My issue is that, like, and I mean, this is an issue for a lot of people now because it's the summer of COVID, and it's like, it sucks to wear the mask in the heat. Like, it's just, I was like, I don't have air conditioning, so it's like, I can't even like cool off when I get home and can take the mask off. Like, it's really not that much cooler in my apartment than it is outside. And it's just like, one of the things I like about the summer is because as somebody that's poor, it's like, I just like being outside in the warm weather and like sitting in the park or like going for a walk. And I can't really do that. I mean, I can, but I have to be wearing a mask. And I was like, I don't really want to be outside for an extended period of time wearing the mask unless I have to. So I just don't go outside. And I feel like since COVID really hit us at the beginning, like right when spring was starting, and it's going to be with us for a while, I will have basically spent all the nice weather days in my apartment because I don't want to go outside.
As someone who lives in a tropical environment, I'm going to hardcore second the heat issue. Like, I hate wearing the mask because of how hot it is. Like, I constantly sweat under it, and I'm like, someone needs to invent like a face deodorant, like, or a face antiperspirant, like, to keep that from happening. It's horrible.
Well, and frankly, that's probably what's causing the acne. It's like the sweat and yeah.
Oh, God, my acne is so bad, and I'm just gonna hide under my shirt.
Nah,
but,
that's fine.
but
I
like,
pointed out my pimples. Come on.
I'm like, I'm fine. Everything is fine. But I opened up Pokemon Go last night for the first time in like 8 months. Like, the last time I played it was last October. I checked, and which I guess maybe is 9 months ago. I don't know. Whatever. Time, numbers, blah blah. And I was like, oh, because I'm at my friend's house, and my own home is right next to a gym, and I'm like, maybe I'll go out walking and like hit up some gyms, and then I'm like, but the mask in the middle of July. Like, I'll sit here and never battle again. Like, it's fine. Just whatever.
Yeah, and like, obviously, I mean, there's no, like, New York City, the ruling is that, like, if you cannot socially distance, you are supposed to be wearing the mask at any time you're outside of your, like, house, basically. But the thing is, in New York City, it's virtually impossible to socially distance anywhere. But it's very, very generational and culture dependent onto who wears the mask. I am very, very lucky or unlucky, depending on which direction in my neighborhood I have to go, because in like one direction, I live in a very heavily Asian community, and everybody wears masks in the Asian community because they get it. But if you go in the other direction, I don't want to be like anti-Semitic, but like, or racist. But I was like, in the other direction, it's very, very heavily Orthodox Jewish, and the Orthodox Jewish community in New York was one of the big problems at the beginning of the outbreak because they were not listening to the regulations. They weren't listening to the rulings about like not having big gatherings and everything like that. A bunch of the cases in my neighborhood actually were from people that went to weddings when they weren't supposed to be having weddings. So it's very much a hit or miss kind of day when I leave my apartment. It's like, who am I going to see? Am I going to see like the people that are actually wearing the mask? So it's just like, it's really weird. And like, if I go for far enough, then you'll see a mix. It's like, you'll see people wearing them and you see people that aren't wearing them. And it's just like, can everybody please just wear them? Like, because there's no way, the sidewalks aren't wide enough that I can be 6 feet away from anybody at a certain point. Like, it's too populated. So it should just be, and I know they were trying to like not mandate, they don't want to tell people like you have to wear a mask, because there is no way to enforce that equitably, especially with the NYPD. So that's another issue to discuss. But they can't really enforce that, so it's like, it's more of a like, just be conscious of it, like police yourself. It's like, that's not gonna happen.
That just brings up a really good point though, because on the one hand I'm like, there should be fines for not wearing a mask, and then I'm like, but then the people that are giving those fines are the cops, which I'm also not very great with right now.
Well, and see, that's where I think that a lot of the self-policing is where you end up on those like the viral videos on social media of people getting shamed and stuff for not wearing masks, because that's really the only way that we are able to self-police is to like let me rephrase. I was gonna say get in the face, but that's not what you would do. So but yeah, like getting
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I think there's a slight delay, so I don't mean to interrupt. I keep trying to talk during a pause, but then it doesn't work. There was a really good video of like, I think it was like at a Payless or something, or maybe not a Payless. I think they went out of business, but whatever. Some shoe store. And like there was a lady and she throws a box of shoes at the employee and then marches out to her car. And so they follow her and like film her license plate, and then like in the comments they're like, and also she left her wallet on the counter which had her license in it, so the cop just went to her house.
I have a cowbell. I should walk behind people and go like, shame, shame, shame. I won't do that. I'm a very non-confrontational person. I'm not going to do that, but if I get to a point where I don't care,
I was very close to doing that at someone on the bus that one day I had to take the bus because they put the mask on to get on the bus because that's a rule. But then as soon as they sat down, they took it off because the bus driver couldn't see them and therefore could not enforce the rule. And I was so close to being like, put your mask on. But at the same time, they looked like people that could really beat me up. So I didn't.
Well, and I don't understand that because like it's so much easier to just sit and do nothing with a mask than it is to move around with a mask. So like, why don't you just leave it on? Like,
people are dumb. And I understand it's hot. Like our buses here, there's air conditioning, but it's still like hot and gross and you want to like free your skin. But like, come on. Like it was just awful. But thankfully that was more than 2 weeks ago and I'm fine. Except apparently I might have allergies, which are making me paranoid as hell. Like in the middle of the night, I woke up coughing and sneezing. I'm like, the Rona.
Yeah, my allergies make me very paranoid too. I don't know. This happened the last time I was in the office, so it was like 2 weeks ago. So I don't know if I brought this up on our last webcast. But it's just so interesting to me to see like what regulations people will follow, because there is a place next door to my building. I get breakfast there every day. They are very careful with the social distancing measures. You need to wear a mask to be in the store, which is I can't really call it a law, but it's like, you know, it's a mandate in the city that, you know, if you any building that you're entering, you have to be wearing a mask. They had a hot food bar that they don't have anymore. They have a deli counter, which they shortened the hours for. They don't have the food. They used to have like the food sitting in the like case. They don't have that anymore. All that kind of stuff. You know, they have tape on the floor. This is 6 feet apart. They have plastic shields down so that you can't like accidentally spit on the employees when they're taking your when they're bagging your stuff.
On the person.
But so I was in line 6 feet back, and the woman in front of me, and first of all, she obviously, since I was standing 6 feet back, did not realize that there was a line behind her because she was taking her sweet ass time. And she had like the antibacterial hand wipes, and she wiped her hands with the wipes before taking her card out, or cash, or however she paid. And then like after the transaction, she took out another wipe and wiped her hands. And I'm like, oh, that's very diligent. And then she like shifted, and she's wearing a mask because you have to in the store, but it's like down here. And I'm like, what are you doing?
I feel bad occasionally when I'm out. Like I will pinch my mask and like move it so that I can get a little bit of airflow, which is bad because it's supposed to stop airflow, but I'll do it away from people. But I feel like someone's going to see me doing that and think like poorly of me. But I'm like, no, like I'm hot. Like,
I have to shift my masks all the time because they fog up my glasses and I have to move them. And I was like, I know you're not supposed to, but I'm like, it's either that or I can't see. So like,
well,
I was like, I don't
problem.
touch anything, and I carry the antibacterial gel in my bag. So
Same. And I have a problem with the masks too, at least basically all of them, because I have a very small face and they're giant and they like go down to here on me, which is probably good, but I don't like it because it makes me feel like I literally can't breathe because it's like cutting into my trachea. So I have to like fold it over. So yeah, I'm constantly like refolding it over. Otherwise, I literally feel like it's cutting off my airflow. So probably because it is cutting off my airflow. Anyway, small face people problems. I'm not small. I just have a small face. Yeah, I mean, I guess. Wait, I mean, we've basically spent an hour just like complaining about COVID. So,
not as on a
good.
complaint. I do have a positive thing that has come out of this. Okay. I have that in the thing because I was like, I didn't want it to be all complaining. It does suck and and everything. But one positive thing that has come out of this is that I talk to people. Like, I mean, I talk to people. Like, I video chat with people now that I was like, that I wouldn't, like, even before, like, I might text them or email them, but I was like, now I'm like video chatting with people. I mean, my friends and I that live in the city and that normally hang out together have been video chatting. But I also video chat with my friends that like don't live in the city and with my family as well. I am one of those, I love my mom. Like, I'm a mama's girl. Like, I've basically, like, since I've been in college, I call my parents like at least every 2 weeks. Like, so that's
at least every 2 weeks. That's like a long time, Jamie. I call my family more frequently than that, so I guess I'm.
Well, it was every week for a while, but eventually, once money started being tight for me, I started not having stuff to talk about, and it's just like. But now, like, my family does a video chat, and like it's like me, it's my whole family. Is like even both my sisters, when my older sister doesn't have to work. And like, I can't remember the last time I talked to my sisters on well, no, that's not true. I can. But they weren't good. I was like, I think the last time I talked to my older sister on the phone was when my brother-in-law was in the hospital. So like, not positive stuff. But it was like, I really like that we do that now. So I was like, because for like, it took me, I think, a month or so to start being like, oh, I should talk to my friends and start up these video chats because like, I'm not a very social person. I'm a big homebody. Like, I don't really like to go out, mostly because I don't have money, but also because I was like, I've never really been like, I'm an introvert. I was like, I like having friends and like doing stuff with friends, but I don't like going out and doing stuff. And so like me having to stay at home because I can't go anywhere, really not that different from my normal life. But at least then I get to talk to people because like I can't even talk to my coworkers because the way we only have one person in the office at a time, and not even the full week. Like I only have to go in for 3 days. So it's just like, it's been very difficult for me not to talk to people. And so I like that, like, now that there was no reason for us not to do it before. It just never occurred to anybody to do it. And now I have like 3 of these a week. And it's really helped a lot, I think, to make it not that awful. Although my family chat is starting to get really boring because nobody has any to talk about.
No news. Because you're not doing anything.
We did talk for a while today about like all the new shows that we watched because my sisters and I have all watched Unsolved Mysteries, so we were talking about that.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, I didn't put that on my recommendations.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say we'll talk about that in a few. Apparently, I'm gonna second that, Jamie, because I also work from home full time. I haven't been in the office for forever, and but I work for a very large company that is international, so I have people all over the place that I work with on a daily basis. And I also don't like to talk on the phone because I hate the phone. I'm much more, if I can do this in an email, I'm just going to do an email, which is the opposite of like the people that I work with, which are mostly salespeople. And they're like, I'm going to call you. I actually got a call before 8 a.m. from one of my sales reps the other day. I'm like, thank you. Anyway, but so I've been talking a lot more too, but I've been talking a lot more with my video because, I mean, I do webcasts, so it doesn't bother me. I'm comfortable with speaking on camera and stuff, but like a lot of my coworkers are not used to it. And so we'll be chatting and like, I will have my video on and they will not have their video on. And then I get self-conscious because I'm like, well, it's just me. It's just my face on their giant screen now. And so I'm like, can you please turn on your video? And they're like, oh, I haven't showered in 4 days. I'm like, oh, I don't care. Just turn it on. But anyway, I'm trying to get people to use their videos more at work because I do think that there is something to be said about when you're having a discussion to see the facial cues and the tone and the voice. And even as an introvert and somebody who doesn't really like people that much, that stuff is important for relationship building. And it is so crucial to keep doing as much of that, like being able to see each other in addition to talking to people. So
maybe that's why I suck at this. I don't want to be on video with people. I'll do these webcasts, but when my office
because you haven't showered in 4 days?
No. Yeah, basically.
I'm just kidding. No.
Well, at least, I mean, mine at least is with like good friends and like family. Like they don't care what I look like.
Like, I brushed my hair for you people. I put on makeup for you people.
Like yeah. I don't wear makeup. That's just a me thing. But like, yeah, mine is I put on the t-shirt because it's like my family gets a tank top because it's very warm in my apartment. So.
Yeah, I work with very intense people. So like if I can't turn my video on at any given moment, then that's not great. And so I can't go 4 days without showering really. Plus I do a lot of project work. So I am in like meetings all day and it's annoying that I can't go days without showering, but that's just the way it is right now.
I have in the past, but since I don't have air conditioning, I can't. In the summer, I can't. I have to shower every day and sometimes twice because it's very gross. Like I sweat a lot.
I've been staying with friends for about 3 weeks now, so I have been showering. But the thing that's broken at my apartment is the shower. So you know I'm being good because I left my apartment because I couldn't shower. So
good job.
Hygiene, yeah. I could have gone 3 weeks without showering, but I chose to go stay with friends.
I mean, also, 3 weeks without showering is kind of a lot.
Yeah.
So not recommended.
Yeah, well, I'm not home right now. We got
right.
turbulence in a poor Cameron.
At least thank you, Jamie, for bringing the conversation back up a little bit there. I guess it was needed to go.
Well, we're going to get that way with our recommendations anyway, but I was like, yeah. I just thought I'd...
Okay, let's move on. Let's move on. We're going to do recommendations. What's going on?
And I'm just really excited about recommendations.
Oh, okay. So go ahead.
So since you mentioned it, I quickly typed it up here. Unsolved Mysteries. Have you guys watched it yet?
I have, yes.
Yeah.
Isn't it a good season? Like, we have 5 murder mysteries and then a UFO. Like, I think it's a fantastic. But, like, some people are complaining that they don't like the new format where it's 1 mystery per episode, and they prefer, like, multiple mysteries per episode. But I like the more concentrated ones. You get a lot more details. And then there's going to be 6 more episodes released, I think, in October. But they haven't released the date. It's kind of just rumors that it's October.
Yeah. And before we get off of Unsolved Mysteries, I want to bring this up because it's a thing. And apparently you cannot vague tweet this because I got a lot of people asking me about it. Somebody I went to high school with is actually a murderer. And it was that it was weird. No, it was really weird how I thought of this because like I was watching Unsolved Mysteries and I was just like, I wonder whatever happened to that guy. And I Googled him and it's like, he's up for parole this year. And I'm like, oh, okay. And it's always funny because like in Unsolved Mysteries and like all of these like shows, you know, they're always like, when they talk about the killers, they're always like, he was so quiet. He never bothered anybody. And I'm like, yeah, no, I definitely knew this guy was going to do something when I was like 11 years old. Like, it was pretty obvious. No one was surprised when this happened. Yeah. And if you guys, I was like, I can message you guys a link if you want to know.
Yes, I need to know.
All right.
Yeah, send that to Angel. That's up her alley for sure.
I'm all about the true crime. Like, but then the UFO one just kind of threw me. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, because the thing is like the first 10 minutes of it, I'm like, a UFO episode. I know Unsolved Mysteries does that, and they also do a lot of cryptozoology, like Bigfoot and stuff like that.
Ghosts and things like that.
Yeah. So I knew that's on brand for them to mix that into the murder mysteries. But then like 20 minutes into the episode, I'm like, oh my God, like what is this? Like this is really like out there. Like what the hell? Like I expect it to just be like people like, we spotted weird lights in the sky. That's definitely not what it is. It's way more intense than that.
See, I definitely am one of the ghost story people. I really like scary stuff.
I like it. It's just,
but not like human scary stuff because that's
too real. No.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I do like the murder mysteries. Like, obviously, it's really interesting to get all the facts that they have and try to piece it together. But that's not my jam. My jam is the ghost stories. And so I was very sad that there was not a ghost story. I also don't like the UFO really stuff. Bring me some ghost stories.
There might
maybe
be
in the next batch.
Yeah, because the next 6, I would guess that there would be at least one more non-murder mystery, because that seems to be about what they do. They do like bulk murder mysteries, which let's be real. Every one of those 5 was a murder. Let's just be real about that. Even the ones that are like, it was suicide. No. And then one non-murder. So next time, who knows? You might get ghost or you might get Bigfoot.
I also don't like the cryptids and stuff like that. I just want ghosts, man. Come on. Anyway.
Oh, go ahead.
I mean, we could still. Maybe we should just take a whole hour and talk about Unsolved Mysteries at some point because I just was gonna say like yeah, I mean, I've seen like updates and stuff on like BuzzFeed and everything, and there's a subreddit called Unsolved Mysteries that you can look and people have been really like going after. Yeah. Well, and the producers, if you go to the subreddit Unsolved Mysteries, the producers sent out like a Google Doc and opened it up to everybody, and it has all of the stuff, and you can actually go out there and like research the stuff. And
I
and there's been
Mapped
tips since it dropped last week. They've had like, I think it was something like 20 credible tips. Most of them have been for the black guy that was Alonzo.
Yeah.
Cool.
Anyway, keep going with your recs here.
One that you had, Hamilton.
I've
seen it 3 times already.
We all have Hamilton.
We're all gonna talk about Hamilton.
Yeah, all of us. It's so good.
Yeah, I have a weird relationship with Hamilton because first of all, I have a degree in history, and Alexander Hamilton, from like the first time I heard about him when I was like in 5th grade, was my favorite founding father. He always has been. and my dad's was always Thomas Jefferson. So it was kind of like a fun thing, like growing up, like my dad would be like, Thomas Jefferson. I'm like, no, Alexander Hamilton. Anyway,
Nerd.
so,
No, I'm kidding.
so I know, believe me, I'm aware, painfully aware. But like, so when I heard about Hamilton the first time, I was like, I don't know. And then, you know, I heard that it was like rap and stuff, and I'm like, I don't know. And I hadn't really listened to any of the music before I saw it live on stage, because I'm one of those people, like I don't want to know much about it before I see it, which is weird because like I love spoilers for the like TV, but like for live theater, I'm like, I don't want to know anything about it. I just want to experience it. And so I saw it on stage in 2018, I think. And it impacted me, but not as much as I expected it to. And then when the film came out, like it's been a week now, like a little over a week. I've watched it 4 times. Like I can't stop watching it. I can't stop listening to it. My cat and my dog are probably like
again?
Who the hell is Alexander Hamilton? But like I just love it. Like I'm obsessed with it, and I don't know why. And it's driving me crazy because I can't get it out of my head.
I know. I've been humming it like all week. It's crazy. But my commentary on Hamilton leads to my next rec, so I don't want us to change before we're ready.
Oh, I have been listening to the soundtrack for years. I mean, I live in New York, and it's one of those things where it's like I sort of wished I'd known about this before it got big on Broadway, because now it's virtually impossible to get tickets. Except I have a friend that's won the lottery twice. Whatever. Okay. I haven't won it ever. Like, and I was a big fan of the musical. I'm not such a huge fan of hip hop as a genre. Well, hip hop, I'm not so bad. I've never really been a big fan of rap, but it's not really rap, it's hip hop. But I was like, I just really like, it's just an amazing soundtrack. Very lyrical, and I really enjoyed obviously really enjoyed seeing the production, because there's just so much that can't be brought across just in the songs. And there's some things like, I mean, for example, like King George's songs were like humorous, but like you see King George on stage and it's just like the little things that he does just makes the performance like so much funnier than you were expecting. Like he does that little like thing with his shoulders, and I'm just and without like moving anything else. And I was like, he was probably like my favorite bit. But also I liked, because it's like when you listen to the soundtrack, they obviously did their best to make it like, it's, I mean, they're all professionals, but like professional sounding. And so there isn't a lot of the acting so much that there is when you perform it. Like sort of like the way they sing things, and just like the tone and the stuff like that. Like just like some of the way that like Alexander like when he does his like taunts, it hits a little differently when you can actually see it. So that's my contribution.
And to the person commenting, yes, we are. I assume we're all familiar with the Bullet character, the girl who is the Bullet. Yes. Yeah. But my commentary on Hamilton is King George, because I did not know until literally like July 2nd, the day before it came out, that he's the same guy that plays Agent Holden in Mindhunter. It blew my goddamn mind. I'm like, what? How is this the same person? So leading to my next recommendation, I decided to start rewatching Mindhunter, because I'm just like, can't get it out of my head that they're the same human. Jonathan Groff, I think is his name, which a lot of people know from Glee, but I never watched Glee, so he was never really on my radar.
A lot of people know from Frozen. Yes, he's the voice of Kristoff in Frozen. So
yeah, because he's not on Glee that long. He's in only first season, and he's not in a whole lot of episodes.
And I was never really a Frozen person either, so I don't really know him from that either. So, but I was really into Mindhunter because it's true crime. It's serial killer related. But I had only ever really listened to the Hamilton soundtrack and seen a few pictures, but the pictures don't look like him either. So, like, when I made this revelation, I couldn't, like, get it out of my head. So I've been binging Mindhunter the past week, and I highly recommend it. Who knows when season 3 will come out, because Jonathan Groff, I think, is working on, like, I want to say The Matrix or something. I don't know. He's on something. He's a big project that's taking up all his time, except not now because everyone's at home stuck. But it was and will soon be taking up his time again. So that one's kind of like in a weird limbo where everyone wants a season 3, but the lead is kind of busy being successful and shit. So
I think it's so funny that, like, you're not familiar with Jonathan Groff, because he's just like, he is a chameleon, and so you sometimes don't realize that he's the person that he was in something else. He's also the lead in the HBO series Looking, which is super gay, Angel, so you need to watch it. It's basically
that either. I've just somehow avoided getting super. I've just somehow
it's so good.
Get into the stuff that he's in. Like, I didn't get into Glee. I didn't really get into Frozen. Like, I knew Frozen. I've seen it, but I didn't get, like, super into the voice actors. I still haven't seen the sequel.
Don't get into Glee. You can just save yourself.
Yeah, don't get into Glee. It's a hot mess.
As someone that was into it, don't get into it.
I know. No. But yeah, I've just avoided it.
Well, I will go next because okay, so I had been watching Love Island. I literally stopped watching Love Island the day that we had our last webcast. I don't know why. It just stopped being fun. So I'm not watching anymore. So I started watching the new Perry Mason series on HBO. It stars Matthew Rhys and Tatiana Maslany. And it's very weird because it kind of reminds me of the other series that HBO has had recently, like Gentleman Jack, and to a certain extent, what's that fantasy series that they had? The one with the book. Yeah, His Dark Materials. Sorry, I couldn't remember it. I knew what it was, but I couldn't remember the stupid name. Anyway, it seems like kind of that same feel where you're like, okay, I could see where this belongs on HBO, but it doesn't really feel like HBO. That's kind of how this series feels too. It is very gritty, and obviously is based on the character Perry Mason, who is like a detective private investigator back in the day. And, you know, there was a series, but in this series, he's like, I don't know, it's just very gritty, and it's like in the 1930s and in San Francisco, and it has a lot of like religious undertones, and it's very weird. Like the main storyline, which happens in the very first scene, is you see this this married couple, and you're assuming that their small child, who's like a year old or 2 years old, has been kidnapped, and they're paying a ransom. And as soon as they pay the ransom, the people are like, okay, go on this like cable car train thing, and he'll be there. And so they go over and they find him, and he's dead, and he has his eyes like sewn open. It's very, very like gritty, and not like you have to be like into crime to like it. But I know that's why I was like, Angel, but it's like it's just so good because the acting is so good, and John Lithgow is in it too. I mean, you have these powerhouse actors. I mean, you don't get better than Matthew Rhys and Tatiana Maslany. They're just amazing. And I'm just interested to see like where it goes, because it is a very slow burn so far. It's only been on for like 3 episodes. So anyway, that was a very long recommendation, but I don't think a lot of people are familiar with it. So that's why I wanted to say a little more. It's very intriguing. You should check it out.
So mine are, one is a stand-up special and one is a movie, but the stand-up special is Douglas by Hannah Gadsby. She did Nanette. If anybody saw that, Nanette was like a huge, hugely popular, not really a stand-up special because it was a very like personal thing for her, and it's just really funny because a lot of the beginning of Douglas is her being like, it's not at all going to be like Nanette, like it's completely like, so if you're here because of that, like I'm sorry, you were lied to, like basically. But it was just like, I watched it, it's very funny. She was diagnosed with autism within the last few years, and so the special is very much about like is autism and dealing with that, but it's like hysterical. She's very funny. She's Australian, and it's just like there's like one of her stories is about how like the name of her dog comes from like an anatomical, like Douglas in Australia is like the anatomical name for something on a woman, and it's just like, and like she has this whole story about how since she's not very good with dealing with people like one-on-one for the first time, she has this whole like story about her dog's name at a dog park, and she just keeps going like, at a dog park, like to emphasize how ridiculous it is. And the one part that I really liked is that she was an art history when she was in college, and she got a lot of comments after Nanette that it felt like a lecture, and she's like, that wasn't a lecture, this is a lecture. And then she like puts up like a painting on a slide, and she like has a pointer, and she's like, okay, now if you look at it does like a little mini art history lecture in there. And it was just, it's very funny. So that's on Netflix if you guys could check it out. And if you need something light to make yourself like laugh, that's a good one. And then my other one is, I posted my review earlier today. It's Palm Springs. That is a Andy Samberg movie. Andy Samberg and Kristen Milioti. Tyler Hoechlin is in it, which is why I was interested originally. He's not in it that long, but it's still a good movie. It set the record at Sundance for selling for the most amount of money by 69 cents, which they did on purpose because it was 69 cents. And it's really funny. It's Groundhog Day at a wedding. And so it's like a very like, it was a really good movie. It's one of these, like, they're stuck in a time loop. You never really sort of figure out why or like what's going on. I guess that's not the important thing, but it was really excellent because, and I wrote this in my review, is that Andy Samberg's character, it was very much a really apt sort of in your face metaphor for depression, because his character, spoiler alert, which you discover after like the first 12 minutes of the movie, is he has been living the day over and over again for we don't know how long at this point. So he starts the movie already knowing that he's in a time loop. And the kicker is, or the reveal comes from Kristen Milioti's character, that all then becomes aware that she's in the time loop. So that's how you find out about the time loop, but he's already been aware of it. And he's sort of just like resigned himself to this like endless life of just living the same day over and over. And he sort of just like goes through the motions and like just deals with it by like getting drunk and like trying to sleep with people, like that kind of thing. It was very much, especially now with everybody in quarantine, that it was like,
I was gonna say, it sounds like quarantine.
Yeah, it was like, and I was like, and I mentioned that in my review, I was like, now that the days run together, I told my family, I was like, I responded to a bunch of emails on Thursday And I didn't realize until I went to respond to them how long it had been since they'd been sent originally. And so the first sentence in every single one of those was like, my apologies, time has no meaning in quarantine. And like, I didn't realize it had been a week and a half since you sent this. Sorry about that. But it's very funny. Like once she becomes aware of the time loop, they do some like really strange, not really strange, but like just silly things. And I was like, I've never not been a fan of Groundhog Day. But as I get older, and it's like this for a lot of the movies that came out like when I was younger, that you look back on them and you sort of see the problematic elements in them. Like I've never not been a fan of Groundhog Day, but he's kind of skeezy, and that like he just sort of like does all of this stuff so that she'll like him. And in Palm Springs, it's more about them liking themselves. As people, and it's a really good movie. It's really funny. It's on Hulu, so I highly recommend that everybody check that out. J.K. Simmons is in it. He's never not done a bad movie, so yeah. Well, I guess I can't speak to that. He probably has, but I have not seen a bad J.K. Simmons movie. So and
right.
Hamilton.
Yeah, we all had Hamilton. We're gonna skip quarantine shout outs because what's happiness? No one knows. But I did think that maybe, I mean, we've had some discussion about what to watch next time because I think it is time for a watch party again. And I was thinking maybe we could watch Hamilton, but I don't know. Maybe
2.5 hours. I don't know, man. We'll see. We can talk about it.
Yeah, it'd be fun. I mean, that's how long all of our webcasts have been lately anyway. So, and speaking of webcasts, be sure to join us next week for our pre-Sdcc Webcast. We are doing that as per usual, but it is a little bit different because we're doing it on Saturday, next Saturday, July 18th at 8:00 p.m. Eastern, same time. So we'll just do some fun stuff and see how it goes. What were you going to say about that, Jamie? Were you going to say anything?
No.
Okay. I saw your fingers and I was like, oh no, I was doing
this with my finger.
Oh, like cool.
Yeah.
Join us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of hard when it's the 3. You can't really see.
Yeah. No, like I said, our pre-Sdcc webcast will likely have far less alcohol involved. And also,
we won't be in a hotel room.
We won't be in a hotel room. Well, at least together, and we won't be together. Also, we will be apart. Okay.
Sure.
So I do have a question, but I think we probably touched on most of this during our previous discussion. But the question is, what is the one thing you have missed the most this summer that you couldn't do due to COVID? And I will go first, and that is going out to eat. Ugh. I just want to go out to eat and like not feel bad about it, or not feel like I'm gonna get sick and die. So thank you.
San Diego Comic-Con. That's mine.
Yeah, mine is probably Comic-Con too, but also the winery trip with my friends because we've been doing that for years. And, like we could probably socially distance there, but none of us are really comfortable doing that. So, also I don't know if they're open.
What? Sorry, go ahead. What?
I said also I don't know if they're open.
Oh yeah, probably not. I mean, who knows? I will say, hopefully 1 year from now, we will look back at this webcast and be like, man, we were so depressed and now everything's better. And we're going to Comic-Con and we're going to Disney World and we're going out to eat and we're going on winery trips. We can only hope. Anyway, I really do hope that we can look back and say that though. Like, I'm very hopeful that we'll be able to have some normalcy by this time next year. Any last thoughts? Otherwise, we'll wrap this dude up.
Wear a mask.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, that's fair. Wear a mask, please. And also to all the people that are going to Disney World, don't screw this up for the rest of us.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. I'm Erin, along with Admin Angel and Jamie. Thank you for putting up with us tonight and joining us for Feelings with the Geekiary. Remember, we're a free webcast run off of donations from viewers like you. Thanks for contributing and helping our host at the Geekiary. And we will see you next week for the Sdcc Webcast.
Yay.
Bye.
Bye.